But you can't label that one person.
When you're coming over to me instead of dealing with the motherfuckers, that's what?
I'm not a Proud Boy. I'm doing the same thing you're doing.
So go deal with them. I didn't do anything. I was just filming.
No one cares
to say LaDon. God damn.
Because they did. They dealt with the situation.
You obviously weren't watching. There was more than one person.
On my feet too.
Why are you in here?
And I was standing there waiting.
I get beat up when I go into the Antifa group.
Multiple press were just fucking jumped on. Don't give me all that. Really? Dude was on the ground. I saw the fucking dude kicking his head.
Well, guess
and then
what?
jumped on the
I'm
dude's
a
back.
63-year-old woman and I get my head kicked by Antifa.
Okay. Was that not true? Did you see what happened? You want me to show you? You want to see? You want to see? You want to see?
Stay away from me.
You want to see?
Stay away.
Quit acting like a little bitch. You're scared just because I stand next to you? That's a fucking bitch right there.
You violate my 6-foot social distance.
Okay, bro. Is that why I was showing you from here? But am I scaring
That's
you?
where you need to be.
You want me to be done like this? You little fucking bitch ass?
Baseball bat. How about that?
Do it.
If I had one, I would.
Y'all non-violent ass motherfuckers.
No, I'm violent. I am violent. I am fucking violent. I want to crack your fucking skull in half.
Okay, go for it.
I don't have a
Go
bat.
for it.
I don't have a bat.
Throw some punches, put me in a bitch.
I don't have a bat.
Didn't your dad tell you fucking if you can't throw blows, then what the fuck are you fighting for?
Hey,
guns and weapons?
Can I ask you a question?
Enter your own brain, you fool.
When you're standing next to the people throwing the Molotov cocktails,
I'm not near anybody throwing Molotov cocktails.
You're on
Nor
video.
am I ever.
You're on video next to people throwing Molotov cocktails.
That's not true. I've seen 2 Molotovs thrown, and one I was a block away, and the other one I was on the sidewalk a half a block away. So that's bullshit.
What about the Molotov?
No one cares what the fuck you have to say either.
Everybody cares what I have to say.
No, you don't. Go fucking save some babies' lives, bro. Go save some babies' lives. You're not gonna do anything.
What about the Molotov video that I caught 2 weeks ago?
He's good at it. He should stick to it.
2 weeks ago. What about the Molotov?
Molotov was 2 nights ago.
Person.
2 nights ago.
I'm referring. Yeah, I know.
What's your point?
The one that threw the police.
But
What's your point?
are you saying that when you do
What does that
see
have to do with me?
when you do see violence in the protest, do you stop it?
I do. Yes, I often de-escalate. Yes. You don't even know who the fuck I am. Shut the fuck up.
Have you?
Do you even know my first name? Do you even know my first name? Start swinging, motherfucker.
Have you ever caused anybody else? Have you ever caused anybody else to get attacked?
I'm somebody that just tried to intervene on a dude trying to kick the press in the head and then jumped on another. That's who I am.
Have you ever run people out? Have you ever run people out of the protest?
I have not personally ran anybody out of protest.
Never?
No.
Do you know who you're talking to?
No. I have actually. I have.
Have you gotten people attacked at the protest?
No,
you don't? Not ever. Okay.
Not like, hey, go attack this person or go fuck this person. I've never done anything.
Would you
like
be
that.
willing to give me an interview outside of a situation like this sometime?
No, because I don't trust you. You just were the other day saying that I got you jumped, which you know is not true.
I can prove it, John.
No, you can't.
I didn't.
No, you can't. You cannot prove that because it wouldn't have happened.
How about an interview with me to decide?
No, I only came over here because 2 press were getting attacked. That's the only reason why I'm right here.
So is that what you identify as press, or?
I'm not identifying as press.
So
I am a citizen journalist.
Okay.
But why is it that you can't get through your head that somebody would intervene on somebody else? Why do I only have to act on my own accord? Like,
but
why do I have to only protect myself? Why
You
can't I
also get
protect
people
other
attacked
people?
in the protest. You
I
call
don't.
You call out conservative streamers and reveal their
I call
identity.
them out when they show up in Black Bloc. Yes, so what?
Yes, they show up like that.
If you show up in Black Bloc
they show up
and I say
like that
this
to
person's here in
protect them.
Black Bloc, who gives a fuck?
Why are you in Black Bloc?
Well, I'm not
To
even in
conceal
Black
your
Bloc.
identity. So conservatives
Dude,
go
first
to
of
the
all-
protests in Black Bloc.
First of
so
all,
they don't
Black
get
Bloc
jumped.
does not work when you have hands like this and burns like this. It just does not happen.
I'm sorry.
I don't hide my
I'm sorry
identity.
that you went through that.
I'm wearing this because that's what we're in a pandemic.
But you said that you
And
called
fuck
them.
Nazis.
You said that you called them out because they wear Black Bloc. But everybody at the protest wears
It's
Black
because
Bloc.
they're trying to
If
be
they
deceptive.
don't wear Black Bloc,
It's
they stand
notable.
out and they get jumped.
It's notable when right-wingers show up in Black Bloc.
But
It's
you
something
label
worth noting.
everyone a far-right Nazi.
That's not true.
You called me a fascist and a Nazi.
I've never done that. I've never called you a fascist or a Nazi. That's what I'm talking about. You're just making blanket statements. You're putting judgments on me because of some other fucking uninformed people. I don't give a fuck what you think about other people. I am me. I am an individual.
You are the one that got me
for
jumped.
myself. I did not.
You are the one that
I
got
did
me
not.
jumped. I'm
not.
Bill and Report. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm anonymous. I've been recording the riot.
Tell me specifically how I got you jumped.
You called me out, and you've called several people
When?
out. Just
Are you
the other
talking
night,
about
I was in
online?
Black Bloc, and you ran me out of the
I
protest.
was by
You
myself.
started calling my name out, and you started calling attention to me.
No, I didn't.
And I started getting a crowd following me, and
I
I had
got
to leave the
pissed.
protest. You're being a
got pissed.
hypocrite.
No,
You're
I'm
being
not.
a hypocrite.
I don't want to talk to
You
you.
can't call out
That's not what
violence
happened.
and then call for violence.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened. You know why I was pissed? Because I felt like we had a connection, and I feel like you're being deceptive when you do that shit. So I said, fuck that.
No, we're good. We're not going to fight. Oh, there's the car coming.
I was pissed. I wasn't trying to call anybody on you.
But
I was not doing that.
You start shouting loud, and you get everybody to start
because
looking
that
at
was
you.
no.
You
that's
understand
not
the mob.
Okay.
You understand the mob
Intention.
Huh?
Right? Do you know that was my intention? That was not my intention.
So then you'll have a cordial conversation with me one time.
No, because I don't trust you.
The last time you tried to talk to me was when the Antifa was tracing out the Patriot event out of downtown Portland. The day of the shooting event in the garage, you were filming the crowd. The Patriots were trying to leave. They were trying to leave. Antifa would not let them leave.
Are you talking about the 15th?
Yes.
You cannot tell me that Sweeney and fucking Willis
we
were
had
not
each
the
other on our
instigators.
streams, and you started accusing me of lying to you, and I tried to talk to you right there, and then the minute I tried to have a dialogue with you, you shut it down.
Because I'm personally pissed at you, because what you told me that night we talked is not the shit you talk about on your live stream. You were being deceptive. You were being deceptive. Your beliefs of what you told me when we talked for 2 hours is different.
When I was first streaming the riots, I had my stream shut off at the end of the night, and I ran into you at the Apple store, and we talked for like 2 or 3 hours, and we had a really good conversation, and we actually talked to each other.
Yes.
I didn't name one thing that you think I lied to you about.
I can't think of one right now.
But you're accusing me of being so angry that I lied to you.
I'll shoot you a message.
I'd like to have a dialogue with you, man. I actually think you have a good heart. I don't agree with all the things you're doing. I think if you honestly don't believe you're getting people attacked, you need to be aware of your behavior. When you start calling people out, a conservative that's in a disguise at a rally, you start calling and drawing the whole mob's attention to them.
But I don't do that.
You have! You're the one that
about...
got me jumped!
No, when?
I can't. If I tell you that, you'll dox me. I'm gonna reveal my face pretty soon. I'm gonna take the mask off.
I know what you're talking about right now. That was not my intention. My intention was you were sliding around trying to get people's faces, and I said,
no, I wasn't.
I said, hey.
You're accusing me of that too?
I said, hey, what are you doing?
I've told you over and over that I'm not out there.
You tried to run, dude. So of course I'm gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing?
I had a mob chasing me.
Okay, but does not mean that was my intention to send a mob after you.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's a different thing.
If you're being honest with me, and that is truly how you're seeing it, you need to realize what your actions are doing.
I want to know who the fuck you were.
You were on Common Sense Conservative stream calling him out in front of the federal building one night, and he had to leave too because you do that.
I mean, whatever. If he's coming in Black Bloc,
over and over, I am not out there trying to dox people. I'm not out there trying to get people's faces. I'm out there just trying to unbiasedly show what's happening. I do want people that are hurting people and people that are destroying public property to go to jail. I want them prosecuted. I do.
Do you know
but
that?
I'm not
do you know
out there
that?
trying
Do you know
to get
that David Willis, that's here right now, was in Black Bloc, acting like he was there for BLM, and was literally saying, "Let's fuck shit up."
I'm not.
And was fucking
I'm
shit
not
up.
part of a group, dude.
I'm not saying you.
Listen.
Listen. My point is that there was a right winger that's an anti-Semite that's fucking here that rolls with Eric Oelkers, that isn't Nazi, that was just riding his bike through here. He came in Black Bloc and acting was like, he was acting like a BLM protester, and he was fucking shit up. And I fucking caught him. So every time somebody shows up in Black Bloc that's a right winger, I'm gonna say, you're a fucking fraud. I don't give a fuck. If people respond,
so
I'm
let me
John.
tell you this. If you watched my stuff recently, I have called out.
There's nothing on me that says press.
I have called out the Patriot side many times.
I'm a citizen journalist.
What's up with the camera? He's good.
I'm a citizen journalist.
Don't attack him. He's legitimate. He's a reporter. He's got website stuff.
I'm a leftist.
He might have a far different belief, but just let.
I'm a citizen journalist.
Don't attack him, please.
You know I got pushed out, right? So I'm gonna be fucking escalated, right? Okay.
It's heavy right now.
Sure, yeah.
But I have called out the bad actions and the bad behavior and the bad factions on the right. When I first came out here, I was a little bit more conservative when I was streaming. It made me a lot more conservative to see all the violence and the destruction that the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter and the Black Bloc types are doing. It enraged me. I've seen people get killed in front of me. I held dead people in my lap, man, during this last couple months. But I started coming to more of the Patriot events, and you're right, there are bad factions in the Patriot crowd. They're just like any faction there is in society. But if you want them to judge your side by the good members, you also have to stop trying to judge this side by the bad members. Yeah,
But that's the thing, is
like,
I don't.
do you honestly think, what's the crazy guy's name that went to jail? Michael, the crazy guy that...
Jeremy Christian?
Jeremy Christian. Do you actually think he's a representative of this side?
No. He's an outlier.
Didn't you just put an
He
article?
shares a lot of the same beliefs.
Didn't you just put an article out recently? I might be mixing it up, but you listed a whole bunch of fascist people, and you said it wasn't for the purpose of doxing them, and he was one of them in there.
Yeah, He's a
looked like-
patriot. He identified as a patriot.
Yeah, you can identify as a mushroom today, and people will accept it.
No.
That guy was an idiot. He was mentally ill. They kicked him out of their patriot events repeatedly. For you to put him on that site.
But I never said like
I
never said like
that goes
patriot
back
prayer,
to the thing. I'll take you at your word. If you're not intentionally doing that, you have to be aware of what your actions actually are doing. Because when I read that, it looked like you were presenting him as like a representative of the conservative side.
I was representing him. Yeah, he's a right winger. He is definitely a right winger.
I want to say this is too intense right now. I love talking to you, man. I want to have a conversation. I think you've misunderstood me on a lot of things. Everything I've told you, other than when you asked me who I was after I got jumped. Yeah, I lied to you then. I told you I wasn't me because I didn't want you to get me jumped again. I just got beat up by a crowd. They stole my phone and my car keys. So everything else I've ever said to you was true. I have been so vulnerable and honest to you. I want to have more dialogue with you. I'll say this, don't hurt him. Don't attack him.
I actually want people to hurt me, actually. Oh. I'm kind of a fucking masochist, right? You know how that is. You want to get hurt sometimes.
Did you dox her?
No, I shared a video of her throwing powder on somebody.
But
that's it.
She claims that
was milkshake.
she claims
okay.
I was the victim.
You just claimed that he put your address online.
No, someone else did.
Okay.
After he initiated them, they started doxing me.
Yep.
He made me look like a bad person.
How you doing, man?
I'm not a bad person.
Good to see you, Soho.
You're out here being safe?
Yeah,
Standing up for yourself?
We're having dialogue. Me and
for
John
years.
are two sides of the fence and trying to have a dialogue. And,
because you've been showing up at Patriot prayer events. Of course you're going to get attention. I haven't. I just shared a video of you throwing shit on
Pretty
someone.
much everywhere. He's the guy who attacked Andy No.
Because they attract so many white nationalists
No, they
and
don't.
bigots.
I never saw him in that
Name
video.
and white nationalists
But he did give me a
Name
tap.
them.
He claimed that that wasn't his
Welkers,
intention, but it was the outcome of his
Straight
actions.
out of prison.
Yeah,
Shit. Yeah, especially when there's a propaganda war taking place.
identitarian.
Who cares?
But you just asked me to give you a name, and I gave you a
One
name.
person.
I can send you a list.
Has Eric Olkers been to Patriot Prayer?
Yes, he has.
When?
And Davis is Willis.
He's not a white nationalist.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think of Ted Wheeler sending out a letter to the whole city saying this was a racist event?
Antifa.
I think there's a lot of racists here.
No, we
But
are.
he said that it was a racist event.
Like it's.
Do you think Proud Boys is a white nationalist or a white supremacist or racist event? Because there's plenty of
paleo conservatives that have a lot of fucking bigoted views. There's a lot of anti-Muslim shit. There's a lot of anti-gay shit.
So when
I'm not
we
saying
have
all of them are.
when we have a good conversation, you are very informed on things, but a lot of times you get worked up and you start just shouting and calling people things that are very dangerous. Maybe he is an anti-Semite, but is he actually hurting people? I think we need to have the freedom in the country to be an asshole. You should be able to be ignorant and be an asshole. You should be able to hate people up until you
like you have a legal
harm.
right. Sure, yeah. You can't just do whatever the fuck you want and not have consequences, though.
I retweeted, I sent you a message, you saw it. I retweeted your thread last night about calling some people out on the left and some of the things you didn't agree with. I thought that was pretty brave. Thanks for doing that. I hope you keep trying to be... I want to talk with you, man. We had a good talk in front of the Apple Store, and it was a good dialogue. And I hope you'll trust me. Look through my stuff, man. If I'm getting emotional and like getting all heated up or something, maybe ask me if I was emotional. But I'm pretty spot on calling for nonviolence, calling for people not to escalate the violence, calling for people not to attack the other side. I am for prosecuting people that are hurting people and hurting other people's property. I'm for ending the riots and calling them riots when they are riots.
honestly, how many times do you think that's actually been a riot?
When
Legally, there has to be at least 6 people that are involved in a violent criminal act for it to be a riot. You know that,
I know.
right?
We're
How
not
many
talking
times
about
do you think
legally
it's
here.
actually been a riot?
Let's treat language like what it is and not a legal technicality. We're trying to use words to express an idea to each other. When I
But when
say
you say a riot would have to
a
be
lot
like
of times I
widespread.
try to call it a civil unrest event or
Yeah.
disorder
This is an
event.
uprising. This is an uprising. It's gonna be fucking messy.
I agree with you that you're calling it an uprising. I'm glad that you're honest about that. And I'm against that. I'm against that movement.
What do you do when you can't vote your way out of police brutality?
John,
What do you do?
if you would actually
What do you
have
do?
watched some of my stuff, I am an intellectual anarchist, meaning I don't want to go out and harm things and burn things, but
What do you do though?
I
don't like violence either, but tell me, what do you do?
Let me finish my thought. I long intellectually for a society where there's rules but no rulers. But as we saw in CHOP, when we have anarchy, it creates a power vacuum and it creates a violent situation where people just get killed and people are constantly warring for power. I don't know, man. I was asleep for a long time, just a mindless American like everybody else. I used to be a fundamentalist Christian, and I just accepted things I was told. I never really dove into things very well. I'm learning a lot. But you know one thing, the Black Lives Matter say, we've been hearing it a lot on the radio or on the TV a lot lately. They'll say the time for peace is over. We're gonna use violence now. But like, did they try to peacefully talk to people? Because I've never been able to talk to a Black Lives Matter group that's peaceful.
Do you know how many times we protested? Every time somebody's killed by a cop and police, we out and protest. And it looks like nothing like what it's been.
What about the guy in it's one of the Midwest states, the mentally guy that came out of the house with a knife?
And tell me more.
The cop's got a body cam and he's walking. The house is on this side.
And they shot him and killed him?
Huh?
And they shot him and killed him?
Yeah, he came running out with a knife and he pulled out and shot him and killed him. Do you support them rioting for that?
I really don't think
my point is there's only this visual. It's every time a black man gets shot by a cop, especially if it's a white cop, they riot. No matter the circumstances, no matter what the person was doing.
That's not true, though. That's not true.
I just gave you an example, an extreme example.
Okay, people do riot sometimes, but just in Portland, there's an average of like 4 to 6 people that are killed by cops every year.
Well, then let's have a dialogue about that.
So how often do you even hear about this? Because you don't, because there's not huge.
Well, that's what I was trying to say a minute ago. Because Black Lives Matter and Antifa are being so violent and they're accosting people and attacking people and destroying property and trying to use violence they're being fascist. They're trying to force their belief system on other people.
You need to believe in a natural hierarchy for you to be a fascist. You can't be you can say authoritarian or
again,
fascism is very
this goes back to what I was talking about with you. You can say you don't believe in something, but your actions are what matter. And if your actions show that you are trying to get to the top of a hierarchy and force your way on other people, then your actions matter over your beliefs that you claim. Your actions reveal your beliefs. I can say that I believe that I'm 5'2", but when I duck every time I come over a low lampshade, that means I don't actually believe that. My actions will show my beliefs. So I can say I believe something, but if my actions don't match up to it, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So
I agree with that.
Again, what I was trying to go through before that, I feel conflicted in even giving people like Antifa and Black Lives Matter a chance to talk to me because I feel that encourages them to continue using violence to get a voice. It's hard to get a voice without violence. It is.
Do you separate the difference between like violence and property destruction? Are those the same thing?
I believe in the non-aggressive principle. So I believe in self-defense. I don't think that people have a right to destroy other people's property.
What about public? What if a government is not giving what people have been asking for years and years?
I'll preference that.
Public property is destroyed. Government property is destroyed as a result.
I will preference that. There are times that the conservative side believes the idea that, I can't think of the Jefferson quote, that the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of tyrants and of patriots. I believe there is a time for violence or destruction, but that's the last resort. And honestly,
That's what people feel. People feel this is the last
they
resort.
haven't done enough to let other people know their point of view, or
But
share,
that's
they're
what you
not
think, 'cause
sharing their point of view.
You have not seen, like literally, there's multiple times every year, we're in the streets protesting because somebody else gets killed, and the fucking city will be like, okay, we're gonna make these changes, and they don't do anything.
But you're.
And now why are they doing
in,
something?
You're in the streets trying to force your way on people. You're
But not usually.
offering your.
Not usually.
Yes, it's what I've experienced, and that's what I'm saying about how hard it is to get a peaceful voice. It's hard. And I think if you guys are actually altruistic in what you're doing, you are not trying hard enough to have a peaceful voice before you resort to a violent voice.
When's the last time you were at a Black Lives Matter protest before George Floyd was killed?
I've been in and around Seattle and Portland. I've been at many of them.
Were you at one last year? Any of the probably 30 of them?
I'm not going to give you specific details to dox me, but I have been to many of them, and it's always a situation where I feel if I ask questions and don't just accept what they're saying, that I'm going to get attacked.
That doesn't make the protest a riot, though.
That's back to the language thing. That's back to the language thing. Don't try to give me a legalistic definition of my language.
No, I mean just in general.
not. You know very well that when I say riot, I'm not talking about the legal definition of riot.
Well, not even.
No, we're having a really good dialogue here, man. So
you know, leftists didn't trust Michael Reynolds at all. You know that he was a problem to leftists, right?
Do you renounce him?
Yeah. Yes. He literally almost got multiple people jumped. No one trusted him.
That was part of your thread last night, right? You were saying that he was part of that.
It doesn't make him a part of us.
No, you were saying that group of factions that you want to separate from, he was part of that group. So you were actually
kind of loosely. Yeah. He was just a random dude that showed up that was fucking volatile. Obviously had some substance abuse issues. And we also don't know the story. You know that there's a Patriot Prayer dude that was there and witnessed it that hasn't said there's been no talk about his statement to the cops. Nobody in the media is talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
So why is there no statements about that going on? What did you see?
I saw the whole thing.
What did you see? Do you think it could have been self-defense? No. You said knife and bear spray.
Not. Jay had a gun, but he didn't pull it.
Who pulled the weapon?
Mike.
Okay, and he responded to somebody else, shot somebody else because you pulled a weapon?
They seen him coming because they knew he was a Trumper. They had said it several times before he walked up. And as I see Jay walking down the sidewalk, they're yelling at him, there's a Trumper, there's a Trumper. They moved on him and they ran up to him and basically shot him.
Did you pull a knife?
What?
Did you say you pulled a knife?
Oh, hell no.
Who'd you say pulled a knife?
I never said anybody pulled a knife.
When I talked to you that night, you said knife and bear spray.
No.
Can I ask you a question?
He didn't pull a knife. He didn't pull his gun. He had bear spray. Whether or not he deployed it, still, he didn't deserve to be shot. These guys are converging on him.
I don't think so either.
So even if he deployed his bear spray, as they're converging on him, he knows he's doing it in self-defense.
Can I ask you a question? Some people speculate whether he deployed the bear mace or whether the bear mace exploded from a bullet shot. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, it rolled right in front of me. I looked right down at it. Rolled right in front of me with the hole in it.
Because that's what it looks like. Because that's not. If you look at the video, that's not how bear mace usually deploys. It came out in a round cloud.
Yeah, it was definitely shot. But what about the picture with him with the baton and the bear spray? At that time?
Well, maybe he did have his baton, but like I said, they were coming at him. He was defending himself.
I mean, there's a reason why none of us knew Jay, because obviously it wasn't a horrible person.
A lot of us knew
I agree
he was an amazing.
I'm talking about anti-fascist.
He was an amazing.
A lot of people
man.
still calling him Jay Bishop.
I can't even tell you how amazing this guy was.
I'm not going to argue that. I don't think he should have died.
Through the Antifa riots, night after fucking night after fucking night.
Yeah.
We would talk with you guys. We supported your First Amendment rights. He was so patient and tolerant.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he was. You literally killed a guy.
I did not, though.
He did.
The people that I roll with did not agree with that.
Supported the leftist movement. It's
anybody can come to a protest.
I can't even tell you how much of a travesty.
So what happens when leftists are actually beefing with that dude? Then is he still with us? That's what I don't get. How do you put him on us when we had an issue with him?
Because he
almost got my
BLM tattoo on his neck. That's
yeah.
Just,
but so do Nazis. Nazis fucking rock American flags. Does that mean that he's with you? Like you can't just tie people like that. Nazis are super patriotic. Any Nazi you ever talk to will say they love America.
Yeah, well, we have plenty of
and
browns,
if
blacks.
you disagree with that, you don't know what the fuck
we are not a racist crowd.
I'm not saying
we're
you.
just patriots, man.
But,
we love
why,
our country.
but why every time that I say Nazi is the response always like, I am not, when I'm just saying Nazi? I'm not saying you're a Nazi.
It's used too much.
Yeah. Sure, but not by me. But listen. When somebody says, when I say fucking Eric is a fucking Nazi and you just roll through here, why do people, instead of being like, show me,
because we hear that so much. We hear that so much. It's a meaningless word anymore.
Is that my issue or is that your issue?
I think that you have to be, again, even if you're not intending that to be, you have to be aware of the condition of society. And that word is used so much. We don't even care about it. Whatever your definition for Nazi is, like, call me it. I don't care because I'm not a racist. I'm not a person that's a National Socialist. I don't support the Nazi Party of Germany. I don't support the American Nazi Party. I don't support any of that ideology. So when I hear somebody calling a Nazi, because we hear it almost every day, it's a meaningless word. So you tell us that somebody's a Nazi, you're using a label. Tell us the action that person did that makes you think like that.
I do.
Let's have a discussion about it. Because the left tends to throw these slander labels out and it ends discussion. It ends homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic, Nazi, racist. Yep. We're sick of it. We want to talk to you guys. And I am one of the people that's out.
It's not true. You saw what happened. None of the Proud Boys wanted to talk to me. They wanted to shut me out.
That's an extreme, an absolute statement, and that's not true.
Not really. And then they just fucking tried to jump too press.
There's a lot of people on both sides. There's a lot of people on both sides that are not wanting to talk. But I have been out here for months trying to get both sides to talk. You know that because I've reached out to you many times, and we have had good conversations. So
talking usually goes nowhere, though.
That's not.
Usually goes nowhere.
You cannot get mad at them for not being willing to talk and then say that you believe talking goes nowhere.
If you were to bring Eric over here right now and we were to talk, he is not going to change his fascist beliefs by me talking to him.
I don't know Eric. If I knew him or anything about him, I'd try to get him over here and try to get a dialogue with you guys.
I know exactly what he believes because we pay attention to him.
So,
and when we point him out,
you're calling him what?
He's a Christian identitarian. So like he believes in a white ethno-state, but a Christian-based ethno-state. He goes by Oakers, and he rolls with David Willis. And y'all roll with David Willis.
Let me ask you this. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in an ethno-state. I've looked through history, and you see every time that we have a multicultural society throughout history, Greek, Rome, Babylonians, every time it causes major problems. I don't know how to deal with that issue. And to ignore that that's an issue is a problem that we're just repeating over and over and over. I don't want an ethno-state. I don't know how to fix it. But what I'm asking you, this person that wants an ethno-state, like everybody wants a better world. Everybody does. And we all have different ideas, and some of our ideas on how to do that are a little skewed. There's people that think that we can have a better world by burning buildings down. I think that that's crazy. But let me tell you this. Just because he wants that, what is the bad thing that he's doing that makes you want to call him out and target it? Just because he holds that belief, is he actually calling for violence to bring in that state? Because if he is, talk about that, because I'll be on your side with that. If he's calling for violence to attack minorities and try to get those people out of there, I'm with you. But if he's just holding a belief, if somebody says, like, I'm a National Socialist Nazi, I don't care. Like, okay, you're ignorant and you're an asshole probably, but until you actually start hurting people or trampling on other people's rights, you are free to be a dick.
What do you do when white nationalists gather together and they grow in power? What do? You just let it happen?
That's my answer to that.
Because that's what's happening.
Let me answer your question. I told you that I'm an idealistic anarchist because I want a world where we don't have rulers. A world with rules but no rulers. But it doesn't work. The human condition doesn't allow it to work. So the answer to the anarchy problem is to have the smallest government possible to keep growing bands of men and gangs from becoming the government.
I don't want to get into a big philosophical debate on ideology because we can go on for hours.
But that's my answer to that question. That's my answer is how do I stop bands of Nazis getting bigger and bigger and bigger? We have to have the smallest government possible to stop them from doing that, but also keep the government from getting so big that it's basically them.
Okay. Yeah, I have a rebuttal for that, but I don't really want to get into it because I just totally disagree with that.
But I've got 1,500 people watching, right? There's streams, all these people recording. This conversation is going to ripple through the society, and it's a good conversation. I am respecting you, and you're respecting me, and we are actually exchanging our different ideas. This is what needs to happen.
But it's not going to change either of our beliefs.
If you believe that, yes.
What do you say? What do you say when the most prominent Proud Boys? I'll just go through a couple of them. Tiny's been on video talking about wanting to start an anti-faggot movement, right? What do you do when he's fucking held up because of his violence? What happens when Rufio's a badass because he knocked someone out? What happens when Enrique's the leader and he's been at Unite the Right? What happens when, you know what I mean? Like, these are the leaders of the Proud Boys. Like, how do you decipher? How do you separate that shit?
I'm not aware of these incidents that you're talking about. So I would have to have a dialogue with you.
He's also talked about how he doesn't have any issue with all the alt-right.
That guy got knocked out because he attacked a person with
Sure.
So be it. That's his fault.
But he's also been on video saying he supports the alt-right. He doesn't have any issues with the alt-right. He said that on video. Like how do you do that? If you don't agree with Nazism, why are you like, oh, I don't have an issue. They could roll here as long as free speech.
My answer
like
is
that's just allowing them to do
I believe that there's a natural disorder to the fabric of reality. Things are not going to be perfect. Things are messed up in my heart and in other people's heart, and that's the way the world is. And we have to make the best of it. So when people I deal with it as they come. I have called out many people on the conservative side and on the patriot side and for instigating violence. I've called out people in this crowd right here, right now, personally, face to face. I've called them out personally, face to face, and told them to stop their shit. That's
also a rarity.
But we need to have this dialogue so that we can humanize each other. I'm going to get on a little bit of...
I can do that with you. I can't do that with you.
But I need to get on a little bit of philosophical kick here. If you're saying that words don't matter and that a conversation isn't going to help anything...
You're all right too, aren't you? You're Cali boy.
That's postmodernism, and it's ultimately the belief that words are meaningless. It's just a Western power struggle, and that the only thing that really happens to change the world.
Jesse Suave.
Your belief that you're expressing, the belief that you're expressing, is that violence is the only tool we have to change society. You have to make the decision. Either we're going to have conversations, and we're going to try that until all else fails.
He's got some serious racist beliefs. That's what the shirt is, Des Volt.
We have to have these conversations.
Gotta get rid of these guys.
Gotta
get rid of guys like this.
Are you intending to do him harm?
No, I don't think so.
Don't hurt him, okay? We're having a conversation. This is civil, so.
I mean, his mind might be getting harmed by my presence. I don't know.
Well, don't try to intimidate him. There's no reason for that. We're having a civil discussion here.
He's not. I'm just giving him shit because he's a racist.
Just let it go, man. I don't go out there and try to attack or try to provoke every Antifa or Black Lives Matter that starts eyeing me in the crowd.
This is a Proud Boy event. If the Proud Boys were really against hate, they would get rid of anybody that's against Muslims, anybody that's against gays, anybody that's against trans people.
But that's the way you see things.
Sure.
The way other people see things, the way this event sees things, is they have the people on stage speaking the message that they're here. Anybody can come here and be part of that. Just because some of the people that show up to be part of that hold nasty beliefs doesn't mean that the people that are holding this event agree with their nasty beliefs or accept them.
There was like 40 Proud Boys. They've been on video talking about how they're not going to instigate violence, and they pushed me out.
How can we find a peaceful society unless we find common ground to start from?
Common ground for what? I'm not going to find common ground. I have Muslim friends. I'm not going to agree the shit that you guys talk about Muslims.
Did you listen to the speeches up there?
No, because they say something different what they really believe.
Black Americans, white Americans, and Muslim Americans. We need to be Americans and band together.
That's ignoring differences. That's all that is ignoring differences.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So often you guys are the ones that are saying that anybody acknowledges a difference in race is a racist. But then you say that we can't all come together under one banner because we're ignoring differences. We have to have these dialogues, and we have to find common ground. Otherwise, we're going to civil war, man.
I've told you I've tried many times. Like I really feel like
You said that this conversation is rare, right? Maybe it took this
because
many
you're
times.
actually an intellectual. You actually can fucking think. Most of these guys can't fucking think.
And
it's useless.
You're insulting people, but the idea that you're expressing is that there are a limited number of people that are intellectuals in society. The intellectuals lead the non-intellectuals. You are a smart guy. You were able to keep up with me on the
That's not the way things are working right now. The intellectuals are not leading.
You guys are the ones burning down buildings. You guys are the ones that have said we are going to violence.
I've already told you.
But I'm saying this. What if this is true? What if you tried and you tried and you tried and it took this long until you met somebody like me that'll give you a chance to talk and respect you?
See, like that. Like George Soros, like what? Like he's already paid me for a whole year, right? You know Soros already paid me for the whole year. You know that?
Listen
You
to
know
this.
that he's already paid me?
Listen to this. This whole
like, so
crowd,
ridiculous.
this whole crowd and all these streams are not here to listen to him. They are
But that's so
they are
common.
surround us. They are
How
listening
many
to
people
us.
believe that Soros pays Antifa?
A lot of people
Like
believe that.
guarantee, like at least half of the people here.
But you got to admit on the other side that they literally think almost everybody that's white is a racist. There are people that do that.
There are people that do that, yeah.
So we have to start from that and stop judging our group from the best people and their group from the worst people.
That's why I do me, and I point out the people that I have issues with. That's it. That's it. And if I point out a Nazi and a bunch of Proud Boys circle me and push me out instead of addressing the Nazi, that's pretty fucking, like, you're pretty explicit. I was talking about Eric that rolled by on a bike earlier. I got pushed out within like 10 minutes of being here, so how would I even know who's here?
There is no Nazis here, but there's definitely communists like you. Are you a communist? Please answer
No, I'm not
the
a communist.
question.
I'm an anarchist.
You're not a communist?
Thank you for having these conversations with me. I love that conversation when I originally met with you at the Apple Store. That was one of the best conversations I've ever had. I never get to actually talk to leftists and have them be honest about their beliefs and actually discuss them. You were vulnerable and honest with me. You told me all the things that you believe in, even things that would get you targeted as a bad person. You were honest. Like, I believe this. I stand for this. And I respect that in you. And I want to keep having dialogue with you. If we don't have this dialogue, the people that don't have this dialogue are going to fight.
I just really, like, right now we're in a situation where, like, you saw the shit that was happening with the fires. Like, that was all disputed by every single fire and rescue and law enforcement official, and people are still blaming Antifa, and they're ready to kill us.
Yeah, and
what do we do about that? What do we do about that? Anybody that's an anti-fascist is getting ready to get killed.
Let's do a podcast sometime and talk about it.
But how is that going to address that there's hundreds of people out there ready to mass murder because they think that we
people
fucking
actually
killed
does
and burned down all
help.
rural
Informing people
America?
actually does help. We can talk about how it was a strange circumstance. There was a
It's
weird.
not strange at all.
I'm going to
totally
explain
normal.
why it was a weird circumstance. There was a weird dry spell with a crazy wind storm that came across the West Coast all at once. There were also dozens of people along the West Coast that got caught and arrested for starting arsons. And then that is all during the high tension of the last couple months of riots and we'll call unrest demonstrations every night for more than 100 days. People are on tense and scared. And when over 200 fires start on the West Coast separately in one night, people start getting scared. There were looting in small towns. People were doing home invasions in small towns.
And you know that shit happens every time, right?
Yes.
And you know, like, just in Portland, there's like 250 arsons a year.
So we should have these conversations, and I can give you the conservative point of view on it. And I'm not even a conservative, man, but I understand it because I take the time to. And you can give your more left perspective on it, and we can talk about that. I have not seen any evidence of Antifa starting the wildfires. There is this picture going around of people in wildfire gear and holding an Antifa flag. I don't think it looks real. I think it looks photoshopped.
Those were firefighters.
That was?
Those were firefighters out in Gaston.
That was a real
They were anti-fascists that were also firefighters.
And they were putting out fires?
They were firefighters, yes.
Okay, I'll take you at your word for that. I still don't know what it is, but stuff like that, why did those guys take that picture?
Because they're proud of being anti-fascist?
Are they trying to provoke people into thinking that they're out there undercover?
I don't know.
You automatically assume if I go to a protest to film in black bloc, that I'm trying to do something nefarious.
I don't necessarily think that about you.
You told me that the reason why you called me out when I'm in there in black bloc is
because I didn't know who you were. I didn't know who you were until you said something.
Once you found out who I was and I started talking, you got louder and you started shouting and drawing attention to me.
I was pissed. Because I thought you were talking to somebody underneath your mask.
I had my earpiece in, and as I told you,
didn't know what was going on.
As I told you, I had people talking to me on the phone and watching streams to make sure that nobody identified me and started coming to attack me. It's like that. Look at you. This is the biggest protest. This is the biggest conservative, right-leaning protest that we've had in the Pacific Northwest in a while. The state of Oregon declared a national emergency, and you are here not getting beat up. And I am not calling for you to, I'm not drawing attention like, hey, everybody, look at this guy over here, let's go. You know? But when I go into the protest downtown, the Antifa Black Lives Matter
But you can't
protest,
say that people didn't touch me. They tried to rip my fucking GoPro off my head, twist my neck
and we
around.
stopped you, and we stopped them.
Not really. Not really.
You're not beat up.
Because the cops were there.
You're not beat up. John.
I didn't get hurt, no.
I was right there.
But how is that different from like 30 people yelling at 4 people to get the fuck out of downtown?
That doesn't
without
happen.
touching them?
It happens less and less. Remember at the beginning of the protest, when it started to get rowdy, somebody could shout out, peaceful protest, and then 12 more people, and then 50 more people, and then they would police it like that?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. Nobody stops people from jumping the reporters anymore.
But it doesn't really happen. It's happened a few times. It's gotten a lot of attention.
Actually, this last week, it's happening more and more all over the country.
Who did it
Not
happen
necessarily
to?
here. There's a very petite girl in Austin, Texas that put out a video. They beat a girl up. A very petite girl.
Oh, not in Portland.
No.
I mean, we're talking about protests all over the U.S. and you're using one example as a reason to fucking.
But I think the reason why it hasn't happened so much here in Portland because it's got to the point where it's expected, and people are very, very guarding themselves, and they know that if they step out of line in the least bit or say the wrong thing, that the crowd's going to mob them.
I don't know, Ford. He was out. He was out here the other day.
Wait a second. I was just ran out the other night.
By me.
Yes.
You're saying I ran you out. I was trying to figure out who you were.
But you
I
started.
turned and you
Okay.
immediately were like, and I was like, hey, and you didn't. You just kept walking, and I said, hey, and then you turned around, and I was like, oh, it's Villain, and then I was.
You were trying to draw attention to me.
No, I wasn't. Not at all.
And once you started shouting my name, I saw in my peripheral 3 or 4 people started coming towards me in the other way.
You're assuming again.
No, I saw it.
But that was not my intent. That's not what I was
doing. It
doing.
doesn't matter what your intention is, dude.
But you're
if
saying
one of
that
these guys
tried
comes up and starts beating the hell out of your face and says they just wanted to massage your face, it doesn't matter what their intention
You're
is.
not listening. You said that I tried to get you jumped. That's not true. For me to try to get you jumped, that would be my intention to get you jumped. I was not trying to do that.
What was your purpose when you got me jumped? When I got jumped because you called me out. The time I did get jumped.
I was trying to figure out who you were.
You were drawing attention to me.
I was not.
You might have been. If you were
I literally grabbed your shirt and said, "Hey,"
and I started
walking
walking out.
And you fucking started to run.
Yes.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then a bunch of people.
Let me describe what happens. If you're honest, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. This is what happens. I come up to try to. I'm you. I come up to try to figure out who you are, and I do that. 5 people start looking, and they start walking, and then the crowd outside of them sees 5 more people looking, and the mob directs their attention at me. And when I see a mob started walking towards me, yeah, I'm gonna run. It's either that or carry a gun and shoot them.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that was my intention, though.
It doesn't matter.
I don't have
you do this
control over
behavior
my-
over and over and over again.
I don't.
You're on video a whole bunch of times calling conservatives out at the protest.
Are you talking about me getting video of like
You've done it to
Robert?
Common Sense Conservative.
Yeah.
He's
I
on
get
his stream
video
one
of
night
him
like,
in
oh
Black
great.
Bloc.
He's on his stream like one night and he says your name and he says, oh, this guy's just doxed me. I have to get out of here before they jump me.
But I just told you why. Because David Willis and Vinny Isaacs were showing up and fucking shit up.
But
in
what
Black
does it have
Bloc.
to do with Rob?
Because now I'm paying attention to all the right-wingers that are showing up in Black Bloc. You get what I'm saying?
We can't show up out of Black Bloc, otherwise we get
But
targeted
they
immediately.
specifically were there fucking shit up. Vinny's even on video admitting to it.
Common Sense Conservative
right-wingers
is
are
not
coming
part of
and
that
fuck-
group. You cannot judge our group based on the worst factions and judge your group
All
on
I
the best
did,
factions.
all I did was like, here's Robert in Black Bloc. That's all I did on Twitter.
I'm very skeptical that you don't believe that what you're doing. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and you need to become aware. And you can't hold that line anymore after we've did discussion. If you're simply just identifying somebody in a mob, there's no way at this point that you can continue to do that without being aware that you're targeting the attention of that mob on that person.
I just can't control other people.
You can control your actions, though.
I can, but I'm also not going to do what I think is important just because other people might react to it.
Your response, we just talked about the response of people that lead society and conversations and some people just follow.
What about anybody that shared that Antifa was starting the wildfires? What about the hundreds of people that want to kill anti-fascists now? Does the people that are spreading that rumor, does that make them responsible for fucking crazy motherfuckers?
Is it really a rumor when there's actually
It is. Did you listen to any law enforcement or fire and rescue?
Let me ask you a question. Is it rumor if there is actually ties between a person, one of those people, and Antifa? Is it no longer a rumor, or is it factual?
if somebody starts a fire and they're connected, and they're like a leftist, so
They have direct ties to Antifa, and
that
there is evidence.
There is
yeah, but that hasn't really happened. They didn't Puyallup. Are you talking about the guy in Puyallup?
450 fires, brother.
Yeah, but none of them were political.
John,
75% of them were political,
Okay,
brother.
so you guys are all bootlickers, right? So all the cops that said,
why do you got to do that?
it's a fun word.
But
You love the police. Anything they say is like gospel, right?
Answer the question, because you said it's untrue, but I actually have it on good authority, and I talked with the person that actually has evidence that connects people that set wildfires to Antifa.
Who? Which one? Which one?
Several of them. I don't remember their names.
You want to
off the
make
top of
a
my
bet
head,
about
but
it. I got $1,000 on what this guy's
of the
saying.
several
man.
people arrested. It is.
Let's bet on it.
You can
Let's
say
bet
it's
on
not
it,
true, but
motherfucker.
the
Let's
evidence
bet
has
on
been
it.
presented.
$1,000, man.
About the guy in Puyallup that tried to set a
I'm-
fire on the freeway?
Let's bet on it.
There's several people-
$1,000.
So a investigative journalist has actually connected ties,
Yeah.
has the evidence and the information.
Are the cops lying?
Are the
Do you think
cops
the cops are
lying?
Like there was like a dozen law enforcement agencies that all said
Listen, Antifa said we're gonna burn the country down. They burned it.
they never said where.
Where? Let's make
They said they were going to go burn down. They start wildfires.
There's
This
tweets.
is why I don't want to have a
They
conversation.
said it again, man.
I'm gonna
They
go.
said it again, man. You're not a man.
If you want to
of
walk
war.
with me.
let me say this, man. I feel like that you have intelligent conversations with me enough that you know that when you start engaging with a more working class crowd, and you start using provocative language to provoke them, it seems like you're doing that intentional. It seems like you're.
It's because I'm irritated.
Is it just because you're irritated,
Yeah.
or are you like going into that philosophical belief that conversation doesn't actually help anything?
I
So
think
you provoke them to violence.
I think it's I'm irritated because people fucking love the police when they don't understand how fucking violent the police are. That irritates me. So when I'm referencing the people that support the police no matter what 100%, I'm gonna be like, it's just irritating.
And I'm
It's just
going back
irritating.
and forth on that. Before the riots, man, I was like a cop watcher, and I'd get so mad when I see these cops that would never get held accountable for their things. But then the riots pushed me the other way, man, and I started looking in for the evidence
But
more.
it shouldn't though. Your belief shouldn't change because it's somebody else's behavior.
Well,
That means you're not grounded
No,
in an
no, let me tell-
ideological belief.
so I am weighing more and more and digging more and more. You grow in life, man. You grow through your experiences.
Okay.
But the reason why it does is because it starts making me think the left side will tend to believe that there can actually be utopia. The right side will tend to believe that utopia is not possible.
Uh-huh.
So I believe that there's not a utopia possible. I think that the corruption of man will create a Brave New World kind of situation.
Uh-huh.
So when I see that much violence going on, I start questioning in my mind, which is worse? If we're not going to have a political utopia in a society, like what violence is worse than the other violence?
Yeah.
And so when I see people getting killed in the street at these protests and at these events, I start wondering: do we need a little bit of a strong police hand? I don't think so. I'm still trying to fight for digging at truth and trying to. I've taken some risks to try to talk to you before, man. You know?
I feel like us having a conversation like recorded is only gonna appeal to certain people, and it's not people like you that I'm trying to as bad as it sounds, suppress fascism. That's it. That's what I'm here for.
Let me tell you what I'm trying to do.
And if you oppose fascism as well as other people, they should be helping leftists expose those people.
I am against
protecting them.
fascism, but I'm also, as I said many times, I focus on the action, and most of the people that I see claiming to be anti-fascist are behaving in fascist manners. But let me say what
They're using
I'm
violence.
trying to do is I'm trying to give people hope. I think it's very, very, very hard to hold on to hope. I think sometimes it's very mentally hard. You have to have these mental structures in your mind that allow you to see the world in a certain way and believe it. And so I'm trying to use my intellect to look at things and examine things and speak about them in a way that people can understand easily. It's the same thing that the great philosophers and the great theologians have done throughout history. They spend their whole life like learning things so deeply that they can explain them on a common level. It's the same way with artists. You see the toilet signs, the stick figure man and the stick figure woman, you can assume first glance at that that's a simple artist that made those, but it's actually not. Those are actually really good artists that make those simple road signs and bathroom signs and stuff, because they have to make it so simple and such good art that you don't think about the image that you're looking at. You just think about the idea that it's trying to express. Yeah. And I think that that's what I'm trying to do. And I think that people like you could do it more, because I think that you actually understand what you believe and you're not just getting caught up in it. I think you do get emotional, like you said, and so do I. But I think people like you and I can have discussions, and we can help other people see a world that's possible for peace and possible for hope, and we can help them hold on to those structures in their mind and not lose hope and move to violence. I'll leave it at that, man.
All right.
You have a good day, man. Yep.